getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows. Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Sim Racers Group F4 Championship. This is the 12th and final round of this season, coming to tonight from Laguna, Seca. My name is Ron Maunz, and alongside me, working the comms and the cams, is Joshua Wilkie. Well, Josh, after 12 rounds here and yet another fantastic season of Sim Racers Group F4 action, we stand at the conclusion, and we stand now for the very first time here on SMB at the newly redone version of Laguna Seca here on iRacing. It's stuck behind a paywall, boo, but it looks a heck of a lot better, yay.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, first time I'm having a chance to see it here as we get a little bit argy-bargy there between some of our qualifying drivers here at the moment. Truth be known, actually, I did a Indy Next race, my first Indy Next race I've ever done, and I actually won it around here yesterday and got pole, so might be a good little vote for the season there. Perhaps I will be joining the F3 now turning into Next for next season, but first we got to wrap up F4 here in round 12, and it has been quite the season here in F4 and in F3 for that matter, but we got a lot of battling around here. Just looking at our timing tower now, Damian Dietrich up front here in qualifying, Stevie Ray just behind him Only a couple minutes left here too, so Stevie Ray really popping in some good laps today. Then you'll find Jacob Guyton and then Brian Shazinski, also one of our faster drivers here in the F4 season. But yeah, Scan's looking really good out there. My computer has not blown up yet, so apparently fairly well optimized, and yeah, we're off to the races.
Yeah, I think it may be a blessing in disguise that I don't own this track, because you'd probably be able to hear a pretty consistent noise from my PC just trying to blow up, and then probably a kabang shortly thereafter. So I don't know, maybe stay tuned for season 4 of 2026 here on iRacing if we do return and I'm on production. You'll be able to hear in live time and a PC turning into an unrecognizable pile of metal pulp. That sounds like a pretty fun escapade, honestly. That sets us apart here on SMB. Have the first ever computer blow up for somebody on the mic. It would be me, because Josh's PC is actually good. Damian Dietrich, though, holding on to the provisional pole. I want to kind of shoehorn a segue here and take a quick little gander at your championship points as we head off into the season finale, because what a season it has been. Lots of storyline, lots of competitive racing, and lots of different winners thrown in the midst as well. Damian Dietrich is your points leader, but it's not by much. Only 6 points between himself and Henry Ryback there in P2. Greg Meyer rounds out your top 3. Jacob Guyton is in 4th. Brian Szczynski completes your top 5. Jose Navas, Matthew Hunter, Bob Egger, Jason Chess, and Christopher Yee, the rest of your top 10. You'll be able to see the rest of those drivers there throughout the rest of this race. But as we get towards the end, got to get that away before our graphics stick it up on top like it's a post-it note. But I do want to say it's been a mighty season of action, really competitive, some brilliant drivers coming into the form. And although the series that they will be making a step up to next season is going to look a lot different than it has in the past year and some change here, it is still going to be a real good adventure when we get rolling into season 4 of 2026, which is making me think now. Season 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're now approaching my 15th season doing iRacing broadcasting. Josh, I'll awesome. Pass this off to you here very quickly as I burn up my one singular brain cell to try and count this one out.
Yeah, it's got to be about that many now. You and me starting fairly around the same time. Then you got a bit of a start on me there at another broadcasting company, but of course things coming to fruition here at Slow Motion Broadcasting and really showing off our prowess as well as the league's prowess here. SRG F4 being one of our favorite leagues, one of our best leagues here. Not that we play favorites at all, of course, but definitely seen a lot of movement and a lot of improvement and stuff over the seasons here from the SRG crew, and it's just been such a cool thing to be a part of. And obviously Champions Week here on SMB, one of our favorite times for sure, as we now get our grid, and we're going to be starting up a race here pretty soon, Ron. Of course, these F4 guys wrapping up the season here, I wonder what they're thinking right now, exactly what they're thinking. You got some people out there maybe a little bit comfortable where they are, and other people, well, they got kind of all to play for out there, and that's kind of happens in around 12, and you can get a little bit of chaos because of that every once in a while, can't you?
Yeah, you certainly can, and here on a track that really has no concessions thrown these drivers' way, it can be a very cramped, very tense race that we're about to head our way off into, as I did run the numbers, counting it on both of my hands. It will be my 16th season altogether, 15th full season, because I was around for season 1 of 2023, but I was around for just one broadcast right at the tail end. I think it was the 4th to last day of that iRacing season. But this is going to sound awful. I did that broadcast shortly after wrapping up my final class of the week, because I was still in my senior year of high school when I got started doing this stuff. Now I can legally drink and can legally rent a car. I don't like how quickly time has gone by. But let's take a little gander at our starting grid here before time flies too quickly and we get a race start. Damian Dietrich will line up from the pole position. Stevie Ray going to join him there on the front row. Jacob Guyton will start this race in P3 next to Brian Szczynski in 4th. Jose Navas will be in the number 4 car starting this race, not so fittingly in P5. Bob Eggert will be alongside in 6th. It's Greg Meyer in P7. By the way, we're not giving out Crunchwrap Supremes. I barely make enough
just
money
saw
to afford Greek yogurt. Sarah Vase will be in P8. Henry Ryback in 9th, with Tyler Hagan rounding out the top 10. Pranay Ketaneni will be in P11. Ken Glasser will line up in 12th. Ben Velton will be in P13. Rudy Samudio is in 14th. Kenny Stepp will be in P15. Andres Ruiz in 16th. Cy Nathan and Dan Clark round out your pack. 18 drivers to round off this season. Josh, this is going to be a hoot.
Yeah, absolutely. And on a difficult track, Ron, I've always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Laguna Seca. Maybe even just recently kind of figuring out exactly how to get around this track efficiently. But it's not an easy one. It definitely throws up it's definitely difficult. There's some difficult corners out there, the corkscrew being one of them. As we get a fairly good start there, Stevie Ray spinning his tires just a little bit, but pretty even start from everyone across the line there.
Yeah, very good, very smooth. Heading our way down into the Andretti hairpin for the very first time. Looking at Damian Dietrich trying to hold on to this top spot. Side by side racing farther behind. Stevie Ray looking to hold on to P3. Not going to be able to do it as Jose Navas going to get involved in that fight. Look at Sarah Vase with a dive on Bob Eggert heading down into turn number 3. This section of the racetrack is very interesting. It was one of the sections added in. One of the only major alterations made to this racetrack ever since it opened back in the 50s. They made it to try and lure in Formula One, actually lured them back as they hosted non-championship Grand Prix here back in the 60s. Never ended up coming to full form, but instead the IndyCars have made their home here over the past few decades. Damian Dietrich leading as he heads his way down up into the Alex Zanardi corkscrew. Gonna get used to that name here. Heading off through there for the very first time here in this race. It is Dietrich over Guyton, over Jose Navas, Stevie Ray, Greg Meyer, round out your top 5. I do want to give a little shout out here to Brian Sazinski. I didn't raise this during the qualifying coverage. We're a little bit cramped in. Thanks to our wonderful production software giving Josh a couple of kicks in the shins. But our congratulations go out to Brian Sazinski for winning this season's Billy Award. We'll talk about that at length a little bit later on here in the broadcast. In the meantime, though, we complete the first lap with Dietrich up at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats to Brian Jasinski for that one. We will have admin Tyler Hagan in here near the end of the show, or once he's done in the cockpit there, he's going to come in and, of course, present that award. And pretty prestigious stuff there, but we'll let him talk a little more about that later on. Damian Dietrich leading here. Jacob Guyton, pretty much just behind him here. He's not letting them go quite yet. Jose Navas Molina having a bit of a fight there with Stevie Ray for a bit, as well as Greg Meyer, so it's kind of slowed him down a little bit, or that pack of drivers down a little bit. But Damian Dietrich in the 444 there, looking pretty clean around Laguna Seca. One of the more difficult corners here to get right every lap. I know almost every time I go through there, you're sort of spying that apex and then kind of clinching your way through it and get on the gas and try not to push wide. And man, when you get it right, it just feels so mega and so good. And when you get it wrong, you're kind of questioning, like, hey, what did I do wrong there exactly? It felt like I kind of entered it just the same as all the rest of them, and now I'm out in the grass. But looking like he's got a pretty good handle on that. It does look like, unfortunately, we have our first incidents here. Sarah Vase slipping down the racing order here. We'll get a quick replay of that, and then also we have Ben Velton and Pranay Ketaneni getting into something here. Coming down through the chicane here is Sarah Vase, and he's just going to lose it on that sort of carousel-style corner. Really easy to get the power down there after the car's a little bit maybe disrupted at the bottom of that corkscrew. Sarah Vase here. One more look at this one here, and he's going to come around and just probably touch that curb a little bit too much, maybe a little bit cold tires on that one. And unfortunately going to do a bit of a half loop there. And then, of course, we have Ben Velton losing it on the braking in to the chicane. So, yeah, 2 incidents right off the bat there, trying to put the power down in one of the harder spots on the track. And not an easy one to do. He's going to try to gather that up and get back on the track here.
As much as this track is very much so a fan and driver favorite, I've got my own ethical conundrums to try and hammer out with this place in terms of the racing action that it tends to put on, and just driving around here is a very tight field that you have to have. If you lose command of it, you're going to be in trouble. It's like being a major league pitcher. If you've got command of the ball, you'll be fine. If you don't, well, you'll probably end up getting a very good contract with the Philadelphia Phillies to be a part of their bullpen next season. As we did see some trouble there heading into turn number 1 for Jose Navas. Sorry, that's actually heading into turn number 2. Don't want to disrespect the motorcycle riders because that's why it's turn number 2. Navas down to 8th as a result of that spin. Very easy. I gotta say, out of all the tracks that we've run at so far this season, Josh, this is the one where I feel like it is the easiest by far to have single car incidents and slides.
Yeah, I'd say you're right. Like I was saying in the run up there, this is a track I've been able to lap, and I bet you most of us have lapped, most of our adult lives, whether you, if you were into motorsports at all. Laguna Seca is basically across every single motorsports game you're ever going to play. Gran Turismo, Forza, doesn't really matter what it was. You were going to be around Laguna Seca, and probably often. So we know this track well. We know how it's laid out. We know what corner we're going into. It doesn't really seem to help around here, though. There is a lot of kind of quirks and character to this track, and really I think what it is maximizing it and getting the most speed as possible. As you see the 444 there, using a little bit of that exit, now trying to gather it back up. Actually took a little bit more of that curb on the inside of that than he would like to as well. It's really easy to make a mistake around here, Ron, and there's a lot of corners that demand a lot of you, a lot of thinking, and a lot of the car as well. So the car is really getting taxed around here too, whether it be the suspension or the grip or the downforce or whatever you might be using. Not an easy one to set up around here. You go really high downforce and you don't necessarily have the speed on the straights. You go really low downforce and then you're going to have trouble in the corners here. But Cervez finding out today, not an easy one around Laguna Seca. And man, I've been there just like this, where you kind of get into a race, you think it's going well, and if you lose rhythm around Laguna, it is utter hell.
Yeah, no, this is truly a rhythm-based track. There's really no break in the action. You've got the start-finish straightaway, really, the run out of the final turn heading into the heavy braking zone of the Andretti hairpin. We're not counting the kink as turn number 1 as an actual turn in this example. You don't really have a lot of room to rest around this track is the point. It is a very square track. There are no disproportionately long straightaways. It is just punchy, constantly having to worry about something, which isn't too far off from the last race that we had at Lime Rock, where we had not only, that track is pretty busy as is, had rain as a factor in that too, which just amps up the anxiety throughout an event like that even more. So as we keep an eye on this field, trying to run through this race as cleanly as they possibly can, it is just so tough to try and run here. Part of what made me realize exactly how there really isn't much of a break here is covering Radical racing here. The other Radical SR10 community on iRacing is where a lot of us got our start. Josh, is where you got your start on production. It's where I got my start on commentary. Same could be said about JR. JR's first ever broadcast was actually replacing me when I was at my high school graduation, which is funny. Yeah. I was like, man, who is this guy? I got off the stage. I was like, interesting little guy. Sounds like he's American, which over at that company was a very rare occurrence indeed. Yeah, yep, anyways, though, we've learned quite a lot about this track, and even in these slower F4 cars, it is just such a frantic ride.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's not an easy one around here. Just on board now with Brian Jasinski, looking at some of those curbs. This being one of the more difficult sections of corners there to kind of keep it fat. I always feel like I've left a bunch on the table around here, and I can never shake that feeling, Ron, about Laguna Seca coming through this corner and that other complex of corners we just went through. Always feel like I left something on the table, even through here as well. You get through it, even when you go fast, you're like, man, I could have done that faster. It just didn't feel right. And I kind of get that around Laguna all the time, which sort of begs you to push a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder until, of course, you kind of go over that line and then lose it, as we see the Taco Bell car, Greg Meyer there locking up an inside wheel into the chicane, something that happens almost every lap, honestly, when I'm in the car. It's hard. You'd be basically wedging, almost three-wheeling the car through there. The ground drops away from you so suddenly and rapidly that the car has a hard time actually keeping all four wheels on the ground. So it's something that you're pretty used to seeing and is fairly normal going into that corner. But you can see that skill gap, Ron, that we're talking about. This track is a bit of a specialist kind of track, and you're seeing that reflected in our lap times and in our gaps between our drivers here today. We got about a 1.7 second gap between Damien Dietrich and then Jacob Guyton. And then you're going to go another second or so and find Stevie Ray. Then another second or so and you're going to find Greg Meyer. And then a little bit closer from there, Brian Jasinski able to hold on to it. And then a big 6 second gap back to Henry Ryback, who by the way, is in the points here. Don't think he's able to collect enough points tonight to make a run at that championship win, but he is pretty close in points, so he's going to want to hold that one together. You never know what happens to you, right? Maybe Dietrich maybe gets a big donut on the night, something happens and you get really close, but either way, you're seeing that skill gap out there tonight for sure, where people, some guys really do have this track on lock and others don't. And even when you do have it on lock, like we said, Ron, it's hard to keep it on lock.
Yeah, it really is. This is one of those tracks that can chew you up and spit you out, even if you just look at one that turns the wrong way. It's what drivers love about it, but it's also what drivers hate about it. Unfortunately, I think one driver who's maybe not going to be a fan of this track, really two drivers that aren't going to be a fan of it. Sarah Vase, Pranay Ketaneni involved, and Jose Navas, who was in trouble earlier on in the race. So side by side, as they headed their way down into turn number 5, it's a spot that he can get a move done if we're feeling especially brave, but it is still a whole lot easier said than done, as Pranay Ketaneni turning that F4 car into a rally machine as he headed his way through the corkscrew. Bless him. I don't know how much back pain Alex Zanardi had after he went for the pass there on Brian Herta back in '96. I think that ride there from Pranay Ketaneni, that gave me sciatica.
Yeah, definitely. You only got about 4 inches between you and your butt, the bone in your butt here on the bottom of one of these cars. And man, there's not a whole lot of suspension there, obviously. And, even the seat they sit in here has probably got a 1/4 inch of padding on it or something like that. So you're going to feel it for sure. And this is a track, obviously, with those giant sleeping policemen on the inside of some of the corners here that you're really going to feel it every once in a while if you get something wrong here. Bob Eggert and Henry Ryback fighting for position here. As well, it looks like maybe Eggert kind of happy to be where he is at the moment. I haven't seen him really attack. Henry Ryback quite yet here, so maybe happy to be where he is at the moment and just kind of get what he's got, or at least wait until the wee hours of the race here. Of course, 10 minutes now, 11 minutes clicking over, about 9 minutes left in this one, our final round 12 championship round here in the SRG F4 series on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Been an awesome series this year, ending at Laguna Seca here. I think it's a pretty good place to end it, honestly. This is one of the more difficult tracks we've been on all season, and I think it's a good place to finish it for sure. We'll see some of these drivers promoted, some of them will stick around, but the overall theme I got from F4 this season is people got a lot better, man. They got a lot better at racing, they got a lot better at sort of respecting each other on the track and making clean passes, and we're here for it, man. It's been really awesome. Can't wait to see next season.
It's going to be an absolute hoot seeing some of these drivers return out there on the racetrack. I heard a little bit earlier on this season that the series isn't really prioritizing moving drivers up into the new Indy Next Championship starting next season. So you will likely see some of the familiar names and faces here in this championship here this season back again for part number 2 as we look to round off the year of 2026. And I apologize there, Josh. I just pinged your sound meter off of your desk as I accidentally tapped my pop filter on my microphone. Hopefully that didn't just deafen everybody, but this microphone can be rather sensitive to pushes of wind sometimes.
Yeah, actually, didn't really come through mine, but it did peak the system there. So maybe the ears of the viewers getting a little blasted on that one, but not so much myself here. Pranay Ketaneni just getting around Rudy Samudio there a few corners ago. It did look like Samudio maybe kind of let him have that one a little bit, not really looking to fight it too hard into the first corner of the track here. Again, pretty spread out around there. You're seeing Ken Glasser now actually tangling with, I believe, I'm not sure who that was with him there. Sign Nathan, perhaps? Yeah, Sign Nathan in the 91. We'll get you that replay here right away as soon as I can get it. It looks like it has not actually clicked over here yet, so we got Sign Nathan off here. Let's just see exactly what happened. A few moments ago, I did see Ken Glasser kind of pulled off to the side, letting some lap traffic by. Looks like he's trying to get it back together. He's just going to straddle that 3D curb, and some real avoidance there from the 91 to miss Ken Glasser there. That was some gunfighter hands on 91 for sure.
Yeah, keep your hand on your gun and don't you trust anyone here at Laguna Seca, as trying to keep that car going in a straight line pulls it off quite well. This track is a stunner, obviously. It opened way back in 1957, the same year that my father was born, and it has held some fantastic racing over the years. It is basically the exact same layout that we're running at now that they did back in 1996. Haven't seen any major changes to the facility since then, as side-by-side Dan Clark getting a move done on Sign Nathan heading into turn number 5. I mentioned that infield section being added into the track. Initially, it was a kink where the Andretti hairpin is that would lead straight into turn number 5 here. That entire infield section that we're seeing these racers cut through right now was not there, as Greg Meyer holding on to P4. I think we need to have a slightly, like lower pitched dong whenever something bad happens like this.
Yeah, we did. He got Taco Bell there, I think. Looks like actually just a little bit of awkwardness going into that corner there, perhaps kind of clamping down on that apex a little, and he's actually just going to have a bit of a half spin there. But of course, you got to get that Taco Bell sound in there when the chat's asking for it. He's saying the only prescription is more Taco Bell sound, so we kind of had to feed him that one for sure.
I'm not sure if it's down to the fact that we're pushing about 11 o'clock here on the East Coast, but somebody doing that, I've got a fever and the only prescription is more Taco Bell, and then just starts spamming that would probably send me to the point where I would burst a blood vessel in my eye laughing so hard. So I think we'll hold off on that for now. There's a little battle going on circuit. Tyler Hagan looking to fend off the challenge from Ben Velton. The newcomer looking to run full-time next season, still racing out of the Sim Racers Group HQ in San Jose, California, the brick-and-mortar location with the Sim Rigs there in store. And Velton putting in a good performance right now, holding on to 14th as it stands presently. One of just a few battles left out there on the racetrack as we get into the final 5 minutes as Velton, huge snap, massive snap
easy.
even.
So very easy to do there, isn't it, Ron? Where you can see here where he's on the brakes, and then right here he's probably trying to get a little power down, or maybe getting on the brake a little bit too much, and that entrance to the corner and then the area he's kind of just going through right now. Well, if he was on track, some of the hardest parts on any track anywhere in the world for sure. You have to tiptoe through that section. Of course, now he's lit those tires up, and they are going to be very much like ice at the moment, and you just got to lay off a little bit and really take a couple corners in a row. Very close to Ken Glasser there. Ken Glasser just missing, but I think we all know that feeling that Ben Velton's going through right now, when you kind of mess a corner or two up, and then all of a sudden your tires just feel like ice, and everything you do spins the car. You really just have to kind of calm down, take some deep breaths, and just go really slow through a couple corners until you get those tires back. Or it can end up being just like biting your cheek. Just keep biting it, and unfortunately, it can get really frustrating here as Ryback now and Eggert still kind of just battling each other. Not even really battling, I would say. It looks like Eggert's pretty happy to be behind him, at least till the end of this race. We are in the wee hours now, so if he's going to make a move, it should come pretty soon here. But we'll keep an eye on this this fight between the 111 there and the number 25 as well. Until the end of the race, being pretty much our closest battle on the track right now. You can see our timing tower, just all white numbers. Laguna Seca rearing its head.
Yeah, this track is a brutal ride. Laguna Seca actually translates from Spanish into English as dry lake, which gave me the idea of trying to translate my last name of Maunz from German into English. And I realized that my last name in English translates to meow. So I guess our old pal, Mr. Adam Thompson, wasn't too far off the mark there many moons ago.
And it comes full circle. What do you know?
Yeah, that it absolutely does. Adam, we love you, man. Hope he's doing all right. I believe he recently just came back from deployment within the Air Force, and hoping that he is enjoying some time with the family, as Damian Dietrich is enjoying this time here up at the front. Now, here's where things get interesting. Of course, Damian Dietrich entered this race with a good points gap there of about 6 points heading into this race. Henry Ryback in P6 at the moment. Now, I'm going to look through to try and figure out all the permutations, how things may work out, the situation when it comes to the points. But I think at the moment it is advantage Dietrich, and at the moment with a rather anonymous drive, not sure what Henry Ryback can do to try and challenge that.
Yeah, we've seen Henry Ryback really be a bit of a rising star here in the F4 series. Maybe a little bit froggy here and there. He's got himself into some trouble here and there, but a very fast driver and really good at turning the screws on people and getting passes made. And he's been able to do that quite a bit this season. So I'd keep an eye on him for next season for sure. Not exactly sure what his plans are. As you said, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people moving up or anything like that next season. We're going to be kind of pausing things as we are changing machinery in the other class. So I think that's a great idea actually from SRG to just sort of leave things as is for now. Let these guys fight it out next season as well. But again, it's going to be a pretty interesting one here as we're on the wee hours now. This is going to be our final lap, I believe, is Damien Dietrich going to come around here just behind Ken Estep out there plugging around in the number 66. Beautiful Spider-Man livery on that car. I always got to try to get it on the broadcast every time because I love that livery so much. But Damien Dietrich here on his final lap. I believe this will be the white flag lap for him. A pretty good championship run here. We've had him in the booth a few times, and I think maybe his closest fight there probably would have been with Ryback throughout the whole season, but we've had a lot of different winners here, haven't we, Ron? We've had a lot of people poking their head up to the front of this field, and I mean, that's just awesome. It really does prove that, the SRG kind of flow system there into these cars and then into the next professional league, we might call it, really does work.
It's a wonderful system that we have got going here in the Sim Racers Group world. Recently, I've undertaken a video project surrounding the history of the Road to Indy system to get to IndyCar, and a pretty rough period from the years of 2010 to 2017 that didn't see too much talent come up through the ranks, but that's never really been too much of an issue here in the Sim Racing Group world. Talent aplenty on the most joyously effervescent groups of sim racers that I get the privilege of commentating on, and they're about to crown a new champion here in a few moments' time. The German of Damien Dietrich in that 444 car. He has been faultless throughout this season, from a long race winning streak through to this triumph here, which will be his last this season and the last he needs to secure the crown. Damien Dietrich is your champion here in the Sim Racers Group F4 Championship.
Yeah, what a great run for Damien Dietrich this season. Has pretty much not put a foot wrong for most of the races here. Been a very strong competitor. Jacob Guyton's going to come in second in our final race here. Great run for him around Laguna Seca. And Stevie Ray, owner, admin, and general legend of the WW and Ray Esports Weekend Warriors, is going to take a podium on the final race here in third in the double one number 11 car. Pretty cool stuff out there for him as well, getting a really good qualifying today and then being able to convert that into a podium. And then, of course, we have our Taco Bell machine. Got to get the dong in for the fans. Greg Meyer here, wrapping up a pretty darn good season as well. So pretty cool stuff here for the SRG F4 series. And, man, I'm honestly just really excited for next season already here. I really can't wait to see how the rest of these guys kind of come along. And I'm sure we're going to see some more winners next season. Jose Navas Molina having a great season. Bob Eggert being really quick this season as well, almost getting some wins. Pretty cool stuff out there, man. I'm definitely here for it. And the SRG, they really got some stuff going here, and I really like it a lot.
It's a great community, it's a great series, and a great way to end off this championship. It is Dietrich grabbing the crown. Guyton and Ray round out your podium here at the end of this race. And just some brilliant storylines that we got the privilege to talk about throughout this season. I will say, though, and this is honest, every single time we hit that Taco Bell dong with Greg Meyer, it gives me more and more of an urge to make a slow motion broadcasting version of the Gong Show. That's an idea we have to workshop around. That people would be willing to pay up to 5 cents to see a whole season of that. As we take a look at your podium finishers, and Damien Dietrich burning it down, still trying to get those donuts fully nailed down. But I'll tell you what, everything to get the opportunity to celebrate has been good for him. That's him grabbing the win here in the season finale and grabbing the title to come along with it. We'll take a look at your race results here in just a few moments' time. I want to thank you all for tuning into the action, not just for this broadcast, but for all of the action all season long here on SMP. And this is the 7th season that we've now gotten the opportunity to cover this fantastic organization, fantastic league, and the fantastic racing that comes out every single time we see these drivers hit the road. But it's Damian Dietrich, first in this race, first in the season. He gets the job done over Jacob Guyton there in P2. Stevie Ray will round out your podium in third. Greg Meyer will come across the stripe there in fourth in the Taco Bell machine. Brian Szynski will be in fifth. Henry Ryback, it's a good season for the Swede, just not enough to challenge Dietrich for the crown. So a good run for that driver of the 111 car either way. Bob Eggert finishes directly behind him there in P7. Jose Navas could have hoped for a little bit more after some trouble in the early stages. He ends up there in P8. Sarah Vase will be in ninth. Pranay Katanani will complete your top 10. Josh?
Yeah, and then after our 10th place finisher of Pranay Katanani, you will have Rudy Samudio in 11th place. Then Tyler Hagan, admin of the F4 series here. Got to thank him a bunch for all the work he does in the background to make sure all this stuff looks as, is all organized and everything in the background. So we have all the points and everything that we need every week. He's done a fantastic job here with the F4 series. So big thanks to him. We'll be hearing from him actually in a few moments here about our Billy Award winner. Then you're going to find Dan Clark in 13th place. In 14th, Andreas Ruiz, Ben Velton, our new driver in F4 series here. Hoping to see him next season in 15th. Cy Nathan in 16th. Ken Glasser in 17th. And Ken Estep in 18th place. Pretty cool stuff.
And so those are your results at the end of this race, at the end of this season. And again, want to thank you all for tuning in to the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We'll be back next season, but we've still got some drivers to have a chat with. And I think we'll start by bringing in two very interesting drivers of note, of course. Tyler Hagan, series admin here in this championship. Tyler, wanted to start off with you. Of course, one of the founding awards here in this community, one of the highest honors is the Billy Award. I want you to, I'll give you the floor to kind of talk about the legacy of Billy Campbell Peach and the Billy Award and the very deserving winner of it here at the end of this season.
Thank you very much. So at the end of every season, we have a poll that goes around to all of the drivers in the intermediate and the advanced leagues. And we ask them who should win the Billy. Now, Billy Campbell Peach was the most amazing human being that we unfortunately lost tragically way too soon in life. He every time he was out on track, didn't matter if he was racing against league mates, if he was racing against officials, if he was racing against even AI. He raced with class, he raced cleanly and respectfully. And so this season in the intermediate F4 league, our award has gone to Brian Strazansky. Wow, I just butchered his name.
I did that Brian. So often for the first 5 seasons I was covering him.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
I think I called him Brian Styrofoam one time, so it's all good.
Oh, that is so going to be his new nickname on Discord.
Sorry, Brian.
He's a good guy, and he won't mind. He's a very good guy.
He is a new addition to the Sim Racers group, Intermediate League, for this season, and he has been outstanding. And there is no better person this season who could ever have deserved this award more than Brian.
And I will say as well, having gotten to interact with Brian, I remember many moons ago, all kidding aside, the first interaction I ever had with him was mistaking him for a very different Brian involved in the other ranks of the SCCA, Brian Belansky, the host of the Inside the SCCA podcast. I mixed the two of them up and was informed quickly thereafter that it was a different gentleman, and I've gotten to cover both Brian and his brother Dan over in the Formula V's, and now of course Brian here in this championship. That Formula V community, especially in the SCCA, very tight knit, and you can tell that sort of mindset carries over into this series as well. But Tyler, I think I'll drag Brian in, so I'll let you and him have a small little interaction here. It's a fantastic honor to be given the award, and Brian Szynski now joining us here in the broadcast booth. Brian, congratulations on receiving the Billy here at the end of this season.
Thank you. I'm honored, and it was very unexpected, and I couldn't be happier because I really appreciate driving an SRG with these guys. They're awesome.
And I will say, oops, sorry, Tyler.
Brian, it's not often that we get somebody who wins the Billy on their debut season with SRG, so this should be doubly impressive for you, and couldn't have gone to a better guy.
Thank you, and I appreciate it because I joined this league just kind of no full-time Formula V to drive, and watching this in my garage, I thought it was really good, clean, hard racing, and that's very hard to find. So looking into it and joining a couple hours before the first race, I was really embarrassed with trying to learn the car in real time, and felt terrible. But I put in a lot of hours from the start. The results didn't come, but at least I wasn't wrecking anybody, because I really appreciate how hard these guys work and the stewardship that goes into keeping a clean league. So I'm just so happy to be here. And I'm humbled because the only reason I won is because you can't win it twice, and everybody else up there, I really enjoy. I understand why they won it, I should say. So, yeah, I'm honored to be thought of in the same way as some of those guys. So, thank you very much. I love it.
And Brian, I will apologize because just in trying to make Tyler feel a little bit better, I may have given you a new nickname.
Congratulations, Brian Styrofoam.
All right. I didn't smash it up too bad today.
You know, it was a pretty smooth race. I do want to ask the both of y'all real quickly, just about this race here at Laguna Seca, regular standard interview fair. This new scan, I think, was a bit of a demon here.
It's pronounced Damien, but yeah, he's. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I haven't been here in a long time, and I'm never really as fast as I think I should be here, and I think like the grip level's different or something. I mean, not much has changed with the track itself, but there's something different, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But yeah, I thought it was a fitting race for me for the season, finishing 5th. I think in the season and the championship, and after the first maybe month and a half, I thought I had no chance, and then I had one good race, and I was like, that's how you get points, and then that maybe I could be up there in the top 5. So I'm pretty proud of myself for finally learning the car, and wish I had more time the last month to put practice in and have a shot at maybe top 3, but I will gladly take it. And I think we're going to rack them up and do it again next year. I think everybody's coming back. So I'm really excited to do a full season again with everybody that was here this season.
Can't wait for it. And as to what happened to the track, just before they did the rescan, they paved Laguna for the first time in 20 years, I think it was. So it was all brand new track surface. The old scan was on seriously worn asphalt, and so it seemed like all the time the weather gods were giving us lava track temps. Now with the rescan, for some reason they've managed to bring some of those track temps back down to human levels, and it gives you quite a bit more grip, and I spend a lot of time at Laguna racing vintage cars, and it feels amazing. It feels just like it always does. So they did a really great job with this rescan.
Cool.
Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous out there on the track, and I haven't gotten the opportunity to drive around here, but I'll keep my fingers crossed that one day I'll get the chance to, buy the track with my own money, race around it for about like 3 minutes, and try not to make a complete horse's ass of myself. But gentlemen, I'll let the both of you go here in a few moments time. We'll start off with Tyler and then move to you. I'll let you guys give your thanks and shout outs.
Gotta thank my wife, who was the one who pushed me into actually getting a rig at home, and she may or may not regret that depending on the evening. Thanks to my dad, Dave Hagen, who really instilled in me a love of all things racing and cars. And last but not least, the Huffaker Motorsports crew, who take care of all my vintage cars and keep me safe on the weekends.
And Brian?
I'd like to thank everybody at SMB. God, I always screw them up. SRG. I'll get to you guys later. SRG. Captain Cotcher, Tyler Handmop, as long as we're throwing nicknames out there. Thank you guys so much. You've been very welcoming. Everybody in the group has been awesome. Family shows, the F3 guys, everybody's a blast here. I can't thank you guys enough. And SMB, as always, thank you for making it look good when I go back in the garage and watch the guys up front.
And thank you very much, guys, for joining us here in the broadcast booth. Brian, congratulations on receiving the Billy, and I will see the both of you gentlemen out there on the racetrack in the very near future. Thank you for joining us.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. That right there was Brian Szynski and Tyler Hagen. Hagen series admin, Szynski the winner of the Billy Award. Josh, I will pass the mic off to you to have a chat with some of our drivers. I will let you first have a chat with our race winner and our champion, that being Damian Dietrich. The mic is all yours, my friend.
Damian Dietrich, pretty commanding win and season for that matter. Did a really good job out this season in the F4. Tell us your feelings on it, man.
I think I was never that stressed on a race. My computer was not the happiest on that track, so yeah, that was not good. And I was really nervous because I knew like it comes down to the last race. I didn't know how fast Henry will be, so yeah, I was nervous. I'm sweaty.
Yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit about Laguna Seca, this new scan as well. We're getting a little bit of word there that you can actually feel a bit of a difference around here. Is this a track that you've been to before and you noticed a difference on this time, or everything pretty much the same?
So unfortunately, I'm not the person to ask that question. I did not know the previous version like really good, so I maybe tried it like 3 times. So this is my version, and I actually liked it. I think Laguna Seca is the hardest track I ever had to learn. You can learn stuff, but I feel like a lot of braking points, lift-off points, turning in is just by feeling. I could not find a consistent way. I just had to trust my feelings when to turn in.
Yeah, you know what? I find that around here. I was talking in the run-up with Ron here about, you know, I'm fairly quick around here, but I always feel like I'm leaving something behind on every single corner I go through. Even when I do a fast lap, I'm like, wow, I left a lot back there, and it's usually because of stuff like that. It's trying to get that nose turned in, or just not going quite wide enough, and there's just a lot of character and a lot of pitfalls around this track. Even when you do kind of get it locked down and nailed down, it is difficult not to make mistakes around here. I believe you know, a lot to do with the track basically asking a lot of any car, and then a lot of the driver as well. So Laguna Seca, I think, are a pretty good place to end up the season, and we did see a bit of a skill gap today for sure, spreading out the field a little bit. But how are you looking forward to next season, Damian? Are you going to be with us for F4? Are you moving up? What are your plans?
I am not sure yet. My plan was to run F4 again, but I'm still thinking about it. Like, should I move up? Am I in the right position here? Should I just, you know, stay grounded and stay in F4 a bit? Or should I just use the opportunity to hop into the next car? Like, I'm not sure yet. I think I'll talk to Jason again about that, and we'll find a solution.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. You know, we do always like to see, sometimes it's a good idea to stay in the class. You can bring other drivers up to your speed with you, and you know, sometimes it's sad to see some battles disappear like that, let's say, from a series. So I'd think long and hard about that one for sure before you move up. It really could be, you know, you could be helping other people out even by staying in the other one there, giving them a target to look at it kind of helps everyone as well. But he may even give you the chance to run both a little bit if you want. But before we let you go here, Damien, you are the season champion here of the SRG F4. We'll leave you with some final thoughts.
I really loved it. I think this season was the first time I really committed. And I don't know, if people ask me sometimes they ask me, hey, how do you do? How are you so fast? And I think it just comes down to what Matt Armstrong says, hard work beats talent. So just put seat time in and just practice. And I think that's the key.
Yeah, some very smart words there for sure. I'm the same kind of guy. There is people out there that seem to be able to just sit down and blow everybody away. I'm not one of them. I got to put some work in and get comfortable with the track and kind of, just get out there and get that confidence that you need during the week. So when it comes race time, the track's just kind of behind you and you're really just worried about racing. And that's kind of where I need to be. So I think that's some great advice there, Damien. And great race, good championship season. And we'll see you on the next one, man. Have a good week. Take care.
Yeah, and thank you to SRG. Thank you to all the people who were with me this season. Especially Andres and Pranay. I started with them. And I hope I will celebrate next week with all of the folks at SRG.
Awesome. Right on, Damien. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
And that right there was Damien Dietrich, our race winner, our season champion. I do have a quick little chat before we wrap things up here from this season with Jacob Guyton, who chased him down all the way through to the very end of this race and had a good season of his own. Jacob Guyton now joining us here in the broadcast booth. Jacob, welcome in. Second place for you at the end of this race here at Laguna Seca. How was it out there?
It was good. I really wanted to win, as anyone does, but it being my home track, living only 10 miles away from Laguna Seca, was cool. Was hoping to pull out a win here, but I'll take second. It was hard fought and accidentally got to slow down, kind of jumping the corkscrew there, but yeah, it was good. Had Stevie breathing down my neck at the end.
Yeah, well, it was a good low race. A very clean one, I would say, for you. It didn't really put too many feet wrong, if any at all. I want to ask you about this new scan here of Laguna Seca, because it may just be a simple repave, which may seem simple on paper, but it really completely changes the dynamic, upends it, and completely inverts it here at this circuit. How did you find this new scan?
It's a really good scan. I was at a double track day like a week or two before this rescan dropped. So I had a fresh memory of what it felt like driving on the track. It does a very, very good job of visually representing the track. I can't say so much that it feels one-to-one, but at least like the aesthetic of the track, it looks exactly like modern day Laguna Seca, with the Porsche sponsorship down the wall on your right hand going down turn one down the hill and all of that. But I'm happy with it. Even if it still looked like it did 5 years ago before the 2 refreshes that they've done, I'd be happy with it, because Laguna Seca is my happy place.
Yeah, it is a fun track, this, and truly one of the icons of American auto racing. But Jacob, before we let you go and give any before we let you go and get some practice in, shall we say, for the start of the brand new season, we'll let you give any thank yous or shout outs.
Of course, always. Thank you to you guys for putting on these broadcasts for us. We've got people at home and friends and everything that love to tune in and watch us race, and having a simple avenue to let those people do that rather than like streaming to Discord or something like that. It means a lot to all of us. I'm sure you hear it enough, but thank you guys. Thank you, SRG, for the wonderful Formula 4 season. It's been a blast. We've got a lot of really good drivers. So thank you to all the drivers for a great season. Thank you to a few of my friends, Daniel Labivy and Nathan Perkins. We just did a 12-hour endurance race at Motegi in real life in Japan. That's up on YouTube, but lots of fun there. And thank you to my fiance who tuned into the
congrats.
stream.
You
Thank
know,
you so much.
now that you bring it up, Jacob, I remember this story about the race there in Japan and the proposal and everything. It's good to hear
Yes.
that everything went down well for the race.
Yep. Started 28th, fell back to 66, I think, due to a little bit of a technical issue, and then ended up 17th overall and 7th in class. So definitely feel good about that one, and looking forward
Sounds like
to
fun.
going
Lots of
back next
passing.
year. Yes. Lots of passing, being passed, and staying alive.
Excellent.
You know, I would love to go to Japan myself, but unfortunately, with all the hot air that comes out of my mouth, I don't believe I can actually fly on an airplane. But Jacob, thank you for joining us here on the broadcast booth. Congratulations on the second place run, and we will see you out there on the track for a brand new season here in a couple of weeks' time.
See you in a couple of weeks, you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. That right there was Jacob Geisen, our P2 finisher. We want to thank the drivers for coming to have a chat with us. Not just the ones we got a chance to have a chat with here tonight, but all of them throughout the season. All of the folks in SRG. It has been an absolute blast as always. Josh, final thoughts on this race and final thoughts on this season before we draw the curtain shut.
Laguna Seca definitely separates the men from the boys around here, and we're seeing it for sure today. Hopefully we will make a trip back here again, and we can see kind of how people have improved. But I think it was a great place to finish off the SRG F4 season, and what a season it was, Ron. Lots of different winners, lots of action, crashes, passes. We got a little bit of everything here on SMB with our SRG partners here, and much more to come from them as well. Of course, we will be re-racking the F4 season and then changing from F3 to Indy next. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for our final round of the F3 season and our final time out in that machinery. So that should be a pretty good one as well. Just want to thank everybody and congrats to all our winners and the Billy winner, Brian Trzynski. Thanks to everybody in the admins. And that's me signing off here for the F4 series on SMB. It's been an awesome one. I actually got to speak on the last round too, so feeling pretty lucky right now as well that I actually got to be a part of this one like I did here in the booth and on comms with you, Ron. Thanks very much to everybody, and I'll shut up now.
And I will open up my trap once more. Echo the thoughts of Josh and say thank you to Jason Cotcher, Tyler Hagan, Enrique Vela, the paint scheme maestro in the SRG world, the entirety of the Sim Racers group community as well. Yeah, I remember back when I did my first ever SRG broadcast on January 1st of 2025. Didn't really know how much the future was going to hold. It was an odd period of my life. I had sold my go-kart, had just transitioned fully into this broadcasting stuff. Didn't know what the future would hold, but now here we are, nearly 2 years later, the SRG community doing stronger than ever. And when we were giving out the Billy Award, I thought, we're at somewhere in this universe, William Campbell Peach is probably looking down on this SRG group with a smile on his face to see how much it's grown and expanded over the past couple of seasons. But it's a treat as always, despite the fact that I've gotten to cover at least one race every single season of this series. I think that's the first time I've ever done a full season, at least here in the comms booth. So it was an absolute treat to be here alongside, of course, you, Josh, our old pal, our buddy, Mr. James McDonald, joining us here on the broadcast booth. Shout out to James coming into the booth
big shout
and
out
really
there,
doing a good job. Great guy. Really fun to work with as well. Just a lot of positive feelings as we had our way off into the F3 season finale. One quick little kind of personal mention. This was something that I was going to bring up on the American Muscle Series show, but I did not mention it at the time because that was a very frantic and very fun race. Today, September the 1st of 2026, would have been my mother's 61st birthday. So my happy birthday wishes go out
happy
to
birthday.
my mother wherever she is. So with that slightly, I wouldn't say a down note here, we'll take a look at some of the upcoming broadcasts here on SMB, lighten up the mood once more. The SKR Sim Racing Series will be back here on the channel for their first race. That'll be at Willow Springs in less than 24 hours time. Hope to see you all there. The SRG F3 Championship will be at Maunz, the final race with the F3s. And Michelle Lynn gave us a preview of what sort of burn it
She
down
sure did.
shenanigans may go down there. We're going to be in for a treat, folks. Stay tuned for that broadcast. We're going to have a lot of fun. The Ray Esports Summer Series will round off their season at Mid-Ohio, slapdash in the middle between Low Ohio and High Ohio. The American Muscle Series will also be at Chicago as we head our way through iRacing's Week 13 with SKR back on the channel. And the 50th Weekend Warriors runoffs will be here on the channel. Lots of different tracks, the likes of Road Atlanta, Mid-Ohio, VIR, and Road America there for the Sunday main show. Hope to see you all there on the iRacing Week 13 weekend, and hope to see you all return here onto the channel once we get another taste of fantastic Sim Racers group action for what will be Season 8 of this fantastic championship. But as for this broadcast and this whole season of SRG F4 action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, that will do it. So for myself, Ron Maunz, and Josh Wilkie working the comms and the cams with me on tonight's show, I say thank you all so much for tuning into the action all season long here on SMB, and I hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.